Hi, hola. Welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm the Humble Apprentice. I'm your Friday host. This is season 13, week 1. Our topic this week is 13 reasons why we love being a witch. First of all, let me apologize because I am sweaty. It's hot. I can't have the air on. It's too loud. So I am going to be perspiring. But hopefully my makeup won't be too bad. Anyway, I do have some notes I took. Forgive me for looking down, but let's see. Let's start with number 1. Union with spirit during ritual. I think a really big thing for me is growing up Catholic. For me, spirituality was important, but the connection to it was not great. Because even though my love for spirit is deep, the way that we practiced was, just from the mouth out. It wasn't a deep connection to spirit, which is what I try to bring to my rituals. When I do my ritual, I speak from the depth of my spirit, from the depth of my heart, and connect out with deity. So that's why it's really difficult for me to go to rituals in the community where it's more practiced, like just a repetition and not a deep spiritual energetic connection to spirit. So that's been a very enriching, very fulfilling, knowing that I open myself up completely to the God essence that I believe in, the goddess, the deities that I work with, because it's not just my thoughts and the conventional ideas, the mundane thoughts. It's not lip service. It's deep spiritual truth and understanding and communion. So for me, it's really important that I can fully be present during ritual. And it's almost like a meditative state, It has enriched my life. It makes it worthwhile, It's not just like something you do because you feel obligated, because otherwise you're not going to make it to heaven. It's to actually communicate and speak with spirit so that you can get answers to the questions that are in your soul, in your spirit, in the depths of yourself. Okay, number 2. Oh, yeah, working with deities, with the elementals, and acknowledging the existence of the other dimensions. I guess it's 2. But working with fairies, working with the wind, working with fire, working with the quarters. And it's not just, drawing out a map or aiming in a direction. It's actually feeling how that element works in my body, in my physical, in my mental, and in my spiritual self. So looking at all the aspects and facets that, let's say, the element of air, how we work together, and figuring out how we can communicate more effectively so that there isn't friction, so that we can flow, so that I can feel in rhythm with nature and with the beings that exist in and out of this dimension. Okay. Yep, that was 3 was spiritual realms. So, and yet believing also in the core of my being, I know that there are other dimensions. Whether it has been proven through science or not, I know this, and I've experienced out of body experiences. The astral plane, the dream plane, the being non-corporeal. So in knowing and not allowing the media or the masses to diminish or talk down the belief, knowing that it is true, and simply it hasn't been proven or disproven at this point. Number 4, crafting. Well, that's part of the name, right? The craft. I love working with what nature provides and making everything I can. Touching the earth, the rocks, the plants, feeling the different vibrations, feeling the different energies that come through their beings, and taking it into myself and feeling how they exist in this world. I make incense. You've seen, I've got a video where I made a smudge, but I make different wands for different seasons, pendulums, runes, elixirs, bombs, tinctures. I love tinctures of all different types. Oils, working with essential oils and also infused oils, and just rocks, regular rocks. They hold a vibration too, not just the beautiful crystals that come from other lands or even just different parts of the state. Just picking up a stone and sitting with it and feeling the centuries, the millions of years that it's existed, and knowing that it was probably around when the dinosaurs were around, just existing in time and space with that being, with that rock or with that plant. Exploring the senses. The craft and witchcraft, it is about existing in the physical, in the spiritual, in the mental, and living completely and wholly. For me, that's how I see it. So exploring the senses is really important. Touch. I touch plants and crystals, and I feel them, and I close my eyes and I sense their energy, and I feel their texture, and I try to experience them in as much of a complete form as I can. The sensation of water flowing over my skin, or walking in the rain, floating in the lake, floating down the river, smelling. I smell everything when I'm making a tincture. When I squeeze the juice out of the plants or the berries or the herbs, when I grind my powders, spices, herbs, smell is such an important part of feeling how the different plants or herbs are interacting with each other and how it's affecting you, whether it's pulling you towards it or repulsing you or pushing you away. How does that plant interact in the physical? How do the essential oils disperse? So touch and smell and sight. The different types of moonlight. How do you experience ritual in the full moon versus the new moon or the darkness of the moon? How do you feel in certain areas? Certain spaces have a different vibration. So I love the different sensations I feel when I'm walking out in nature barefoot versus taking a walk in the park in concrete. They're both in nature, but the sensations are different. The immersion is different. Sound is so effective in cleansing and clearing, and exploring all those aspects and how they work together and how we incorporate them in ritual or in bringing about a different mental state, so that we can meditate, so that we can explore how we experience nature or how we want to experience spirituality. So working with the senses. And in order to be in the flow of the seasons, it's also working with the wheel of the year, which takes us up and down, in and out, in different aspects of what is going on in nature. So in the spring, it's vibrant, it's reviving, it's waking up. In the summer, it's full of life, it's fertile, it's active. In the fall, it starts to calm down, you start to harvest, you have different rituals for gathering, for thanking the earth. And in the winter, it goes into a more inner working time, at least where I'm at, because it's so cold. I can't go gather materials. I can't do ritual outside unless I am extremely bundled up, and even then I can only do a very short 5-minute experience outside because it's minus many degrees. So working with the cycles of the moon and the earth and how they interact, and how the moon brings about the movement of the waters and the tides, and it also influences my body. So so working with the seasons, and then that takes us into number 8, the fire festivals. All of the fire festivals are pretty much all about fertility rituals. But they're healing. I mean, that's how I've experienced them. And it's about refueling my energy, as well as interacting with what's going on in nature at that time. I suppose in bulk, the four, sorry, right now I'm spacing. I didn't write them down. But yeah, working with the 4 fire festivals. 10 or 9. 9 is a really important number for me, but 9 is also important in that exploring all aspects of myself and learning to accept and validate the fact that every aspect is important, from the higher self to the shadow side and everything in between. That one cannot exist without the other, but also how to bring these completely different sides into balance and not have one try to influence the other negatively, but rather use each other to grow and to become the whole being that I want to be. That's what my process hopefully is going towards. Number 11. Working with divination. I love divination. I love divination. So working with tarot, I make tons of pendulums, but working with pendulums, and the pendulums aren't just for divination. I also use them in Reiki to try to balance the energies of the aura. Dream work, and extrasensory input. So when I'm driving and I feel a desire to, or a need to change lanes or go in a certain direction that's not exactly the same, the way that I would have normally traveled, I've learned to follow my instincts and accept the input and the guidance from my higher self and my guides. So I don't know if that's exactly divination, but opening yourself and listening to your intuition and listening to the subtle information that comes through you. Yeah, communicating with the different beings and acknowledging the existence of what has been termed superstitions, or like those stories, fables. A lot of the time we discredit the existence of, like the different places, the different beings, by just pulling them together and making them into stories or fables, things that don't really exist but just in the imagination. And simply because they may not exist on the 3-dimensional plane or the physical realm does not negate their existence. It just means that not everybody is privy to them. Not everybody can see them. Not everybody is able to, not because they don't have the ability, but because they've closed themselves off because of their disbelief. So, yeah, knowing that and acknowledging and working with beings from what other people would call fairy tales. I just call them, beings from different dimensions, different areas of existence. Believing in magic, believing in the extraordinary. I think that pretty much is a given, since I've been talking about fairies and beings from other dimensions, right? And I guess the 13 is self-acceptance and validation, and trusting myself, learning to not discredit my intuition, my beliefs, simply because they don't coincide with what the mass system or general public belief is at the time. So believing in what I know is the truth. I think that's I might have been a little redundant, but yeah, I love being a witch. I love the freedom, the self-acceptance, the recovery of my abilities, because we were all born with open and strong intuitions, our abilities to see into the unseen worlds. So it's not like we didn't have them, we just learned to shut them down. So this is reconnecting with the self and acknowledging and empowering the true nature of our being. So thank you very much for watching. I'm the Humble Apprentice. I'm your Friday host. I wish you a great weekend, a fun weekend exploring how you connect to your practice. We will see you here next week. Have a good evening, and blessed be.